you have something to share today with the student of the day, which is not just drones, small drones.
Correct. Not the big Reaper drones, the smaller drones, the one-shot drones, the drones that you hear all about in Israel and in Ukraine, and are seeing a pretty big tsunami here in the US. So what the tsunami is the US government has said, that's it. We're getting rid of the Chinese drones in the United States, particularly for the feds. So what that has done is created what you might say a transition vacuum. So a transition into a vacuum, these guys have to leave. Someone has to come in, and you're seeing a lot of small companies really try to fill that space quickly. So when you say drone, I mean, it's the four-rotor drones, first-person view, FPV, right, where you have the goggles and you're driving through it. So they're really three different types, right? They're military, they're consumer, and there's commercial. If you look at just the military and the commercial market, they're each around 20 billion a year in the US, which might surprise a lot of people. The Chinese company that's probably got the largest share is a company called DJI, and they're going to be being pushed out by the FAA and the FEC, so they're going to be moving that out. And what's happened recently, I just want to get this pointing, it kind of fits with what you were talking about in terms of timing, is the big beautiful bill has a lot of money in it for what you might call new drone capabilities. So that's what they call one-way attack drones and also anti-drone, right? So one of the big issues that the Ukrainian situation and the Israeli situation have exposed is if you park a semi-truck within 20 miles of an airbase full of drones and all of a sudden one night they take off, that airbase has problems. So now they need anti-drone defense systems. So there's a lot of efforts in there. And the drone space is just going nuts. And the guys I visited yesterday here in actually Orlando, they're building a brand new factory, all US supply chain, et cetera. And that's pretty much key to this kind of vacuum getting filled.
So let me ask you this. Usually, at least in my experience covering tech and tech-ish, it's the strong get stronger. It's the 80-20 rule. You got 20% are some companies that will make it. They have some cool emerging technologies, but 80%, goes back to the incumbents just because they have the dollars to spend on R&D and also to spend on M&A. Do you think some of the current defense contractors and other types of contractors that play even in non-military applications will dominate, but is there really a chance for these smaller emerging companies?
There is a logic there. I would agree. Let me give you some counters to the normal logic. One is the defense business is huge. It's massive all by itself. I'm just talking about small drones. The problem you have is you got a large defense contractor. I mean, the Reapers are what? 75-foot wingspans? We're talking drones that are like this big, right? So totally different animal. In addition, I was talking to one CEO yesterday about it, and he says, look, one of the issues we have is the Chinese, let's be honest, have done a really good job in this space. So they've set the bar for consumer and industrial and military expectations very high at a very low price point. So the difficulty, like you said, remember about the Apple iPhone, can be built.
Yeah.
All these drones have to be built in the US now. So how do you get that level of performance at that price point? Hard for a defense contractor to do that. Let's just put that. Normally, I would say, yep, big guys are going to win. And if they see a small good guy, they'll just buy it, right?
Right. And they try to snap it up before they go IPO.
Right, exactly.
Is there anything in the, not the big beautiful bill, but in the current trade negotiations, right? Those deals are supposed to be signed in 8 days about this. Like, we know that the Chinese want to have students come to Columbia University and they want to have NVIDIA chips. Will part of the package that's negotiated give us access to their drones?
That's going to be a little trickier, I think, mainly because they're looking at, think of Huawei, right? They're not anywhere in the United States right now. So with that situation, so I think you're not going to see it negotiated out. There's two reasons. One is legislation has already been passed that says we want to get rid of this. And then from a defense standpoint, obviously the military is saying, no. That's pretty simple. And obviously, what a lot of people this year, the two CEOs I talked to in the last week, they're waiting for the defense budget, right? They're looking at that budget saying that's going to be a key catalyst, because what they believe the industry needs right now, let's say that there's 50 small drone companies. Now, these could be micro caps. I got a couple of those that I work with. Unusual Machines, UMAC is one for sure. And ONDS is another one. They're actually going to be both speaking at our symposium, which is going to be July 16th. Yeah, it's going to be really neat. It'll drop on July 16th. It'll be a drone-focused symposium for small drones. They'll have 6 different CEOs talking about how the business is changing, how the opportunity is there in this vacuum that they're trying to move to. They all want to raise money.
Yeah.
And what they all see.
John, how would our viewers access that? Go into Water Tower Research's URL and find a link?
Yep. Right.
Yeah, one of the cool things about Water Tower Research.
It's on the screen. Yep. And all you got to do is give your name, and then you can read the research. Just, it's open research.
I'm coming. Yeah, so that's an interesting thing, guys. I've been at this game since the 80s. John's been also around a very long time. But quite often the sell side or the investment banks that publish research for them is a loss leader. They are just feeding investment bankers with hopefully relationships so they can do the next stock or bond deal or some M&A. Our firm gives away the research to retail and institutional investors. We're paid by the issuer, but you don't have to be a Goldman Sachs customer to get a little piece of John Roy. So this is very interesting. We like the model, institutional caliber research, but totally independent, no bias. So anyway, like there's a good example. The symposium's July 16th. I will be there.